kids organization. Before she got involved in boxing, she was involved in table tennis, where she won 7 national medals, twice going to the Canada Games, and participated around the world. She now, in remembering the coaches, the volunteers, the organizers who made sport important for her, has started this organization, MJKO, which I'm sure she'll tell you about, to help young people just like you think about moving their bodies, thinking about making healthy choices, and living their dreams. So Miranda is your host for the rest of the day. Welcome. Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
How were those films?
Good.
Pretty awesome, right?
I see the boxer.
Oh, yeah, you see the boxer. Actually, since you said that, we're going to actually get him up here. So the one thing I'll say as a boxing coach and an athlete, in watching all these films, all the athletes and all the kids and all the coaches have always taught me the ability to try. So even though things can be difficult, it's important to try. So in the movie, I don't know if you heard, but our little star of today's film, he doesn't actually like to be called Tugar. He actually prefers to be called by his real name. So I'm going to do my best to attempt to introduce this amazing young athlete who's hiding, I think, right now. Okay, so I would like to bring up our star of Little Hard Knocks, Setaguan Tenguan. That's my best. He's now 12 years old, so in the film you saw he was 10, so he's 12 years old. He's already racked up an impressive 30 bouts, so at just now 12 years old, 30 bouts is pretty amazing. And our little guy, he actually started boxing around the same time he started walking. So let's welcome him to the stage and give him a big, warm welcome.
Woo!
Mom, you can come with him if you want. He's a little shy. Next, I would like to introduce 8-time national boxing champion Ibrahim Kamal to the stage. Ibrahim, nicknamed Firearm, started boxing in Libya when he was just a young boy because he was getting bullied for not looking like some of the other kids. At age 11, he returned to Canada where he started boxing competitively. He went on to win 8 national titles, Canada Games gold. He competed in the Pan Am Games, Commonwealth Games, Olympic qualifiers, and 4 world championships. He even, do you guys know this store, the Hudson Bay?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ibrahim's picture was blown up really big down at Yonge and Richmond. He didn't end, the highlight of his career was when he was ranked 9th in the world. Ibrahim, by just 20 years old, he already had represented Canada in over 20 countries. So let's welcome him now to the stage. Oh, and he also happens to be my honey bumpkins and my husband. Favorite athlete.
Oh.
And lastly, I'd like to welcome Roxanne Whitebean. Oh. Lastly, I'd like to welcome Roxanne Whitebean to the stage. She is an independent film director and media artist for the Mohawk Territory of Canada. She is the star behind the film of The Little Hard Knocks. With countless awards for her work, we'd like to welcome her now. Okay, go sit down. It's okay, honey. Don't be nervous. So we'll go ahead and continue. So let's start by just asking Ibrahim. What was your favorite film today?
My favorite film today was actually a Little Stars film. Looking at that just reminds me of being that age and competing, and a lot of it, like it doesn't mention, but there is a lot of pressure when you're that age, and you got your family, you got your friends, and there's a direct correlation with our little star and Usain Bolt's movie. That message there, where the pressure to win was all on him, and for him to respond. So that just reminds me back of my young days. I remember I always wanted to impress my dad. And my number one thing, I was never gonna lose. That's all I would pray to every god there was before going to the fight. I'd be like, please, if I win this, I will go to school, I will go to church, I'll go to the mosque, I will not do anything bad. And, sometimes it went your way and sometimes it didn't. But I quickly learned that if you do your best, you have nothing to be ashamed of, or you don't have any of that regret. So if you leave it out there, you're satisfied with yourself, and that's all you can ask for.
And Roxanne, would you mind telling us what drew you to our little boxer story?
So a lot of the content that I create is very heavy, that focuses on Indigenous issues, residential schools, language revitalization, things like that. And I thought it was important to make a film that would give our young athletes an opportunity and give them visibility in the media, as well as highlighting great sportsmanship, which Satagayon Tagwa really displayed in the film. I thought that it would be an amazing experience for me as an artist, because now I'm at a point in my career where I'm going to be making full-length films. I have a few really awesome ones that are coming up. So yeah, I just wanted to work with the family and create something artistic and something different, and just kind of like test my skills.
Amazing. So you did mention family. So I'll quickly just give a shout out to Mom. I think it's pretty amazing, all the moms, guardians, parents, teachers who stand behind their athletes. And I think you and your husband had a really amazing message during the film, which was to do what you love and to have fun in there. So I think, often in sport, we can get caught up in the wins and losses, but I think having a strong support team behind you, like a mom and dad, encouraging you to do what you love, I think that's really important. Ibrahim, would you mind telling us a little bit about how did you get involved in boxing?
I got involved in boxing. I was born in Canada, Toronto, and once I was born, my dad needed a job. He has a young family, so a friend of his worked at the university in Libya, and got my dad a job over there. So we packed our bags and away we went, and I got involved in boxing because I was getting bullied and beat up in school. So my father is Egyptian and my mother is Guyanese, and growing up in Libya, I kind of didn't look like a lot of the other kids. So that got me in a bit of hot water, as they say. So I got into a lot of confrontations. And needless to say, my dad, he boxed a little bit when he was young in Egypt, and he just taught me the basic punches, the basic 1-2. And then after that, I kind of held on my own and stopped the bullying. So it was more so, at first, I took it not to be a boxer or anything like that. I just took it so I can learn to defend myself and not come home crying to my parents.
Amazing. And Roxanne, so, often the sport of boxing, it is a difficult sport to get into. And sometimes walking into, as myself, a past female boxer, walking into a boxing gym usually filled with men is not the easiest thing. So how was it for you behind the lens, getting involved in the boxing community? How did that experience go for you?
I honestly didn't know much about boxing before I made this film, and I was just really looking at it from a filmmaker's perspective, and they were so accommodating. They were very friendly. As you could see, Herbie was such a lovable person. You can actually hear me laughing in the film when he was saying, "That's a Mohawk dance." It totally is not a Mohawk dance, by the way, just to clarify. But it was so fun, and now I'm a part of this huge boxing family. I got to meet the Miller family, Bob Miller, and I believe we met Adonis Stevenson's trainer while we were there, and we got some photos with Satagayon Tagwa and him. So it was amazing, and I feel that the boxers are really humble. When the fights are done, they come out and they kind of mingle with the crowd and they talk to the people and they'll sit right there. And usually you don't see that in sports. They're usually tucked away somewhere and you can't really access them, or you just see them run by, like these big superstars. But in boxing, they just come out and walk around. And I think I had a really amazing experience with them all.
Amazing. So I just want to point out as well, so if in case you guys haven't noticed, at just 10 years old, our little boxer was already traveling around the world, to take up the sport of boxing. So there's not a lot of kids still involved in boxing. So if I remember correctly, he's actually already been to Holguin, Cuba. He's been to Las Vegas. I believe also parts of Florida training. So I think if we could just give him one more round of applause, I think it's pretty amazing to be just a young guy at 12 years old and traveling the world for the sport of boxing. Now, Ibrahim, in watching the film, I obviously love Jamaica and I love Usain Bolt. And I'm wondering, in your athletic career, so you boxed for 18 years, did you ever have an experience like Usain where you felt like the pressure to win became so much that boxing was no longer fun? And if so, how did you overcome that challenge?
Well, one comes straight to mind. As a junior athlete on the national team, I was pretty damn good. And
He's not too cocky.
and the results were always positive results. Always performing top well. Always making the finals and internationally and domestically. My first year as a senior boxer, which is 19 and over, I was fighting in the finals against Thierry Jean. He fought for a couple of world titles as a professional, and ironically enough, we lived together after that fight in Montreal. I remember after the first round, I come back to my corner. I'm down 7 points. So right off the bat, if you're down that much, it's almost kind of give up. The fight is almost over type of thing. So what went through my mind, I remember I came back to the corner, I sat down, and first thing I'm like, in my mind, I suck. I can't believe I am losing to this guy, blah, blah, blah. Every swear word is going through my head. And something small just clicked into me. I took a look at my red Adidas boxing boots, which I bought maybe a month before the Canadian Championships, and it cost me, what, $100 and something bucks. So the first thing came in my mind, I was like, there's no way I am going to lose and quit because I just bought these brand new boots and I'm all fancy and all dressed up. So now, I'm not sure, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but just that little snap in my mind saying I've worked too hard, I think it was just a metaphor. These boots that I worked my whole life to get to this point, to win the senior Canadian championships. To fast forward after that story, I came back the second round. I cut the lead down to 1, and by the time I stopped Thierry Jean in the 4th round, I was up 40 something to whatever. But that was definitely my most memorable and first moment of adversity. There's plenty more, and I'm sure little guy here can add to it too. In the boxing. In a boxing fight and career, there's always ups and downs and moments where you want to throw in the towel, so to speak.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think that's what boxing teaches us. It teaches us the ability to fall down and get back up. And I think the cool thing with boxing is every time you get into the ring, you're a winner because you're doing something that you love and you keep pushing forward. And I think that can, whether it's the sports, arts, the sciences, if you find what you love to do and share that gift, I think that's truly what winning is. Last question for Roxanne. I'm just wondering, so can you tell us a little bit about your, what was the experience like working with a younger film star as opposed to maybe an adult actor? How does that play into the filmmaking?
Okay, well, I make a lot of documentary and I work with children. It's really hard to work with children, but I have patience because I'm a mother, and I think I work well with them to get them out of their shell, to feel comfortable with me and things like that. But you definitely need a lot of patience to work with kids in film, because I have worked with adults, and it is very different. Especially documentary is unscripted, and usually when you're working with adult actors, they're trained for the camera. They know what they're doing. They memorize their lines. They're really on point. So it's just about having fun and getting them to really come out of their shell and shine. And I think the training montage is where Satagayan Tagwa really showed how hard he works, and I just think he's an amazing young man. I'm excited to see where he goes in the future.
Yeah, I'd actually say I want to congratulate you on your filmmaking, because we can tell now he's a little bit shy, but in the film, you would never have guessed that he was at all shy in front of the camera. He was actually a natural, and I think that's a testament to the work that you do.
Thank you.
So we'd like to now open it up to the audience. Do we have any audience questions for either Ibrahim, our young boxer, or Roxanne?